everybody. Welcome to WITNG Chats. My name is Toyin. I am the founder of the Narrow Gateway. The Narrow Gateway is a fluid and ever-growing platform. We are building a platform of creative resources and materials for you and I to use sort of as a trigger in our lives, as Christians, to seek and find the narrow way. When we face life's different circumstances and different nuances, we need to be triggered to instinctively ask ourselves, what is the Lord saying? What is the narrow way in this circumstance? What is the road less traveled? And when we discover the answer to those questions, we turn, we align, and we run with whatever it is that the Lord is saying for that period. That's what the narrow gateway is all about. And today, I am so excited and so glad and actually honored, to be able to introduce to you our guest for today's WITNG Chats. That is Maya David.
Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you here as well. Maya and I attend the same church, which is High Life Church in Victoria Island in Lagos. And I have been pleased to and just honored to see her serve as the as being responsible for the intercession team in our church. Maya is passionate about prayer. She's passionate about intercession. She's passionate about intercession is basically praying for people, having a passion to pray for other people or for circumstances, that the Lord lays heavily on your heart. And that Maya is passionate about that. She works with a lot of women in the place of prayer and intercession. She takes active part in a number of, prayer groups throughout the city of Lagos. That's what Maya is about. But so that we can get to know her intimately, we can take the layers off and we can get to know her intimately. In these few minutes, I'd like to ask Maya to give us a statement of self. Here in WITNG, Maya, we believe that, as Christians, we need to know who we are. We need to be real. We need to be authentic before the Lord. Who are you? Give us a few words. And as we know who we are, we also need to know who did God create us to be. And we need to be on a process with the Lord, transforming, into that person. So, please, your statement of self.
Okay, my name is Maya David. I'm a wife, mother of 3. I'm a passionate lover of God's presence. I'm a happy intercessor. I haven't arrived yet, but I'm still on a journey with the Lord. One of my greatest goals is to be intimate with the Father. That's basically.
Happy intercessor. That just that stands out. Don't get me wrong. Everything you said stands out. But when I think of a happy intercessor, I think of when I was growing up and, being in the Pentecostal church, the different ministry teams. And the intercession team is always this serious. To be honest, I've stayed away from intercession team because they seem so serious and really deep, Happy intercessor is a great way to describe it. I'm very excited to hear that. Yeah, okay, but that's just me, being a bit silly and making jokes. But, on the real, I listened to your statement of self and I asked myself, intercession as a calling. Are we not all called to be intercessors? The Bible says, watch and pray. Pray without ceasing. So how does it become a calling for you as Maya David?
Yeah, I would say because of my work with God and my experiences, I've had quite a number of experiences. Maybe when I talk about my story, you will know why I'm on that journey to be what God says I should be and who God says I should be. So we are all called to be intercessors.
Yeah.
Mark 11:17, where Jesus talked about my house shall be a house of prayer. You and I, we are their house. The Bible says our body is the temple of the
Lord. Yes.
Yeah. So and he has told us several times the Bible says several times to watch and pray, pray without ceasing, and a lot of invitation. Actually, prayer is a dialogue.
Yeah.
You talk to God, you hear Him, you listen to Him, receive instructions. Just love on God.
Yeah.
It's a relationship.
It's for all of us. It's not
for
just
everyone.
For
it's not
a select
so,
few. Yeah.
It's not for just a few people.
But you are passionate about it. It's something that the Lord has impressed on your spirit.
Yes.
As part of the person that He wants you to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's because I heard an audible voice. I heard an audible voice tell me, you are an intercessor while I was sleeping.
Wow.
And so that's my journey. That's my own journey. I didn't just come to this point to say, oh, you know what, I'm going to face prayer and do it well.
Is there anything in your background, that made you feel like, prayer is super important,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I come from a very large home. I'm from a polygamous home.
Okay.
And I've been through a lot as a child, and even now I'm still going through a lot of things. And but I realized from a very tender age that each time I'm faced with a challenge or something very painful or sad, I run to the Father. I just run to Him and say my prayer, even in my own way. I come from a Catholic background, so in my little way, I say the Lord's Prayer and my rosary and stuff like that. And that was what I knew then, way back then. But then I progressed. I progressed with the Lord in that journey, and now I found myself here, and I know that I'm not saying absolutely that this is all God wants me to do, but one major thing I know, and I know without anyone telling, because I heard His voice. I don't care if anybody doubts me. Is I'm an intercessor.
Yeah, that's the tool He's placed in your hand.
And we all have our various calling and things. God has deposited a part of Himself in every human being, so we can find relevance in the kingdom with that. We can run with that. We can do something useful. I'm not an intercessor because I want to bear that name, or I'm there. God wired me so. That's what I believe He wired me so, because from that tender age I've always been passionate about prayer. I can't tell you why.
But it's just been like in you,
just drawing me to Himself. And
and you know what I want to bring out of this is just this thing of our experiences. It sort of sets up a stage. God allows us to go through various things in life. It sets up a stage because He has already preordained the person He wants us to be, and the works He wants us to do, and the tools that He wants us to use to fulfill the purpose He's given to us. A lot of time we go through various things in life and we wonder, like, why am I going through this? Why am I experiencing? Why was I born in this kind of family? You know, why was I born in this city? You know, under these circumstances. You know, but when we discover purpose, it's often tied to our experiences and exposures growing up throughout our lives, and then these circumstances breed in us some sort of strengths, some inclinations that oftentimes now emerge as gifts, you know, that we can use to fulfill the purpose of God in our lives, you know. And so you know, for me, I see that when I listen to you speaking about a calling or a passion for intercession, because we're all called to intercede, but not all of us are passionate about it to the point that we fill our lives with this kind of lifestyle. I mean, I think we should all aspire to do that, you know. And it sort of takes us to the topic that we're going to discuss today, you know. This topic has a lot to do with life experience. Life leading us as Christians to be a certain way and to respond to life and to God a certain way. Our topic for today is after the miraculous, what then? After the miraculous, what then? You know, after you have been through life's different phases and phases, you've been exposed to different things, right? Supernatural, you know. What then? Why did God allow you to go through this? Why were you exposed to this? Is it just so that you can be like, oh, I had this experience, and then off you go? You know, when we get saved, for example, as children of God, and we were translated from the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of light, what then? Was it just so that we can have an amazing, miraculous experience? Or is there something that has been prepared? You know, I mean, when you think of the miraculous, you think of, you know, the mundane. You know, there's the mundane, and then there's the boom. There's the mind-blowing stuff. Like the mundane, I guess you would say, oh, you know, I went out and then, oh my gosh, I was so late for my meeting, only for me to get there, and there was just one parking spot left right in front of the building, and I was able to get it, you know? And then you'd be like, oh, wow, God helped me today. I mean, some people might say, yeah, no, that's just, it's just luck or coincidence. But as Christians, we say that is God, because we know that our lives are orchestrated by the Lord. And then there's the mind-blowing stuff that you can't use human words to explain. You know, have you experienced that? You know, that kind of thing where you've experienced the miraculous, but you know, life just goes on after that.
Oh yes, I have several times. Sometimes I watch people live on TV, give their testimonies. I watch some amazing I'll listen to some amazing testimonies. I'm
Yeah.
excited, super excited in the maybe first 1 week. I'm so looking forward to being like, to maybe being like that person, or trying to, I try to see if I can experience that too. But then after that 1 week, 2 weeks, I'm just, I toss it aside and I move on, I carry on, and then there's no lesson, really no lesson learned from that.
Yeah, as humans, I think we love a good controversy, or we love a good tearjerker. You're like, you won't believe this happened and that happened. But, does it really get in and change our lives and transform us the way, because God does not expend his power for nothing. He doesn't just do it just to entertain. It's not entertainment. He shows his power so that we can come before him and be like, wow, this God is real. How do I respond? That's why we're talking about after the miraculous, what then? And why would we be talking to Maya about that? Because Maya has experienced one of the most miraculous experiences that I've ever heard of. And when I heard it, I must say, I said to myself, wow, now I understand. Now I understand. And, when I say this to Maya, she gets embarrassed, but it's true. It's true. When I first encountered her at church, she of course, leading the intercessory team. So she takes a lot of the prayer sessions, and in our Bible study as well, when we'll have prayer or worship sessions, we would be, okay, let's now start to pray, or let's start to worship. And you just see Maya get in there, shoo, and then she's just there talking to the Lord, and she would like, just love on him, just love on him. And I'll be like, okay, I need some time to ease into this thing, I mean, I don't know if I'm alone here, but as in, I hope I'm not alone, but I think sometimes when people get into the so-called presence of God, I mean, I use that in inverted commas, you feel like you first need to wind yourself up. And then the moment you're there, you now start remembering all the bad things you've done. And you're like, can I really enter now? You say, okay, let me first ask for forgiveness. And then after you ask for forgiveness, then you now realize your mind is actually on jollof rice that you didn't eat. And then you now ask for forgiveness for that one. Before you do the whole process, it is time to finish the prayer. Prayer time is over. But with you, I just felt like you would just be able to seamlessly get in there, So when I heard your testimony, when I heard you speak about your experience, it was like, oh, she's experienced the supernatural. I get it. She's experienced something that makes her know that, what, I don't have time to just be chilling around thinking about jollof rice when it's time to, press into the Lord. That experience, Maya.
I like what you said. I don't have, it's just, I'll put it this way. I'm mission focused. I don't have time. I won't say I don't have time. I don't want to just focus on or play church. I don't want to play religion. I want to really get into God and have a personal walk with him, a personal relationship with him. And not just me, I want many people to come into that
as well. Yeah. I mean, I see that authentically in you. I really do. Maya, by the way, is not the loudest person in the church. She's not. She's not the woman of the hour with the power. The one that is, there's the humility, there's the inner strength that shows off. Which is why your story. I feel like it explains a lot. So I would like you to share it with us. And we're going to go at it from the point of view of after the miraculous, what then? After the miraculous, what then? Please, Maya, go ahead and tell us what happened to you on the 28th of September, 2002.
Well, on the 20th of September, 2002, which is 15 years ago, I went to church. And then after, for choir rehearsal, and then after choir rehearsal, I decided to board a motorcycle. Bike is a common means in Benue, means of transportation in Makurdi, Makurdi, Benue State. So
it's just for those who don't live in Nigeria, it's public transportation. It's probably the most convenient because you get through
very
traffic.
Fast, very
fast,
convenient.
It's affordable.
Yeah.
You get on a motorbike behind somebody and off you go, zooming through traffic. Yeah. Okay.
So, on our way, I told, because this guy was on top speed, I told him, could you please slow down? But he wouldn't listen. He just took off like that, and I could see a junction from afar, a T-junction, and I just, suddenly my eyes opened, because my eyes were wide open, but I had another, like my other eye was opened.
Like your inner eye.
Yes,
Your spiritual eyes.
yes, my spiritual eyes were open. Then I saw my life play before me, like a movie. It just played right before me, so swift. And then I also saw that an accident. We were about to crash into cars, and I saw the accident ahead of time.
Wow.
So
And you were still on the bike, and you were seeing accidents before you. Didn't you be like, what?
I was just, I just didn't know what to do. I was just, I couldn't jump off the moving bike, and but suddenly the guy was off the moving bike.
Wow.
He just targeted a very good spot, and he went off.
He jumped off and left you.
And left me.
Oh my goodness.
And I was, all I could remember was that I stepped out of my body. I hit my head on the road, and
you were flung off the motorbike.
Yes, yeah, I was. The bike went this way, and I was on the floor spinning. Well, I can't. People told me. The people at the scene told me later in the hospital that they saw me how I spinned on the road, and then I spinned, and then a car climbed me, and that was all. But I didn't see that. I can't remember that part at all. But I remember I was suddenly in another realm.
Wow.
I found myself in this realm. It was so beautiful and peaceful. In fact, I was stunned by the whole. I could feel God's presence everywhere. It was so peaceful. There was peace, enough peace and tranquility. There was no noise. There was no noise, here we are so busy. We are so
even
busy.
now I can hear the sound of the construction beside me, and
Yes. So I was watching everywhere, taking note of everything I was looking at, because it was new to me and it was amazing. I didn't even know what happened to me. I didn't know if I was somewhere before. I just enjoyed that moment.
You were just conscious of where you were. You were conscious of what you were coming from.
I didn't know. I couldn't even recall any of those things. So what happened to me was I just began to hear music, like an orchestra from up above.
Before you go there, you mentioned to me when we've spoken about this, the pain.
Oh, yes. I realized that this realm, there was no pain. No pain. No pain. So that made me feel very comfortable. I was so at peace there. The peace, pain-free, very quiet and lovely. And then I began to hear music. Oh, beautiful music. Better than, I don't know if you have heard about Yanni. It's way better than Yanni.
Wow.
Way better than Yanni. And it was coming like the voice of thousands, millions of people, like nations worshiping God.
Oh, wow.
So it was an amazing experience for me. I began to, because I was coming from choir rehearsal, that desire for music and worship, worship, I began to ascend. I desired it, and I began to ascend. And then,
so you felt like you were ascending towards this music. That
yes. The music was. I desired it. There's something about desire. Even naturally, if you desire something, your heart to just
there, and then you now start employing things
to get there. But in this realm, I realize that it seems whatever you say or think about is amplified. It's just everywhere. And movements, you don't need anybody to tell you move. You don't have to move like we move here. It didn't cost me anything to move. I just desired it, and I began to ascend. And then I got to a particular height, and there was all I could see. The next thing I could see was light. Light. That light was full of love, full of colors. We haven't seen colors yet. It was full of light, life, colors, and love. And I called the light Abba, because it was like the Father drawing me to Himself. And I began to go into Him, because all I wanted, it was better than the sunlight, better than, I can't even describe it. I can't describe it.
What comes to me is the passage that says, God is light.
Oh, yes.
And in Him there's no darkness. God is light. He is light. He embodies light. In Him there's no darkness at all. Wow.
I'm always excited talking about it. When I get to sharing this testimony with anybody, I just get fired up and want to tell you all I saw. And then I got to a particular height, and I heard my name. Someone called me. Maya. I had no choice. I was compelled to look back and say, come back. You know, there, I realized that there was nothing like disobedience. You had to just obey. There was no disobedience. So I was compelled to. I just turned and I found myself right in front of him. I didn't have to walk and take some time to get to him. I just found myself right in front of him. And he opened up, he brought out a...
This him.
Okay, I would say it was Jesus. It was Jesus. I was right in front of him. I couldn't behold his face. I can't tell you how his garment was spotless. And it was same color as his skin. He was like light. But he was just as calm and beautiful. And I just felt so comfortable and so loved to be before him. But then at that point, I still could not recollect what happened to me. I couldn't remember. I had accidents.
It wasn't part of your consciousness.
I was just focused on what he was telling me. So he brought out a very big book, huge, great book before me. And I looked at the book. He flipped the pages, and all I could see was a Bible verse would cover 2 pages. So I said to myself, oh, it would take eternity to read this book. This is a very big book.
Because you were in eternity, isn't it?
Yeah, it would take eternity to read this book. But then he looked at me and he said, Maya, I want you to say these words after me. And I want you to personalize the words. And I said, okay. And he began to bring out my scriptures I've read in time past and I loved so much. But the ones that stood out, he just said, you shall be the head and not the tail. And then I went after him and said, I shall be the head and not the tail. He said, you shall, there were 3 of them. I can't recall the rest, but I remember the one that gave me life. I remember the one that gave me life. He said, Maya, open your mouth. I opened my mouth and then he touched my tongue. And he said, this word of the Lord should never depart from your mouth. You shall not die but live to declare the works of the Lord. Amen. And he said to say that. So I repeated, I shall not die but live to declare the works of the Lord. And then he suddenly told me, Maya, do you know you were involved in an accident? Oh, suddenly my memory came back.
Wow.
And I remember, in fact, from my childhood, I saw some scenes and everything just came back.
Yeah.
And I said, oh yes, I remember I was coming back from choir rehearsal and blah, blah, blah. I had an accident. But then he just gave me the opportunity. He gave me an opportunity to see the earth from where I was. And I looked down and what I saw was so amazing. I was shocked to see that here was people were running about like cartoon characters. You know how we watch Tom and Jerry stuff and they looked so... Everything looked fake to me. Everything looked fake. It looked like here where I was real. It was
the real thing.
Real thing. This was authentic. That one was temporal, fake.
Temporal.
Yes. And I looked at it and I could see people in error. I could see everything. I said, oh, see what they're doing. This person is not doing this right and all that. And
like chaos down there.
Yes, chaos. A lot of chaos. And I could see the accident scene. I could see the people, lots of people there. And then he said to me, if you look back, you're going to find your body. Your body is on the ground. You see your body. But then he looked at me sternly and he said, this word of the Lord should never depart from your mouth. You shall not die but live to declare the works of the Lord. So that was like a mandate. That was like a command that this scripture. Now for me, from that day, from that very moment, I don't just read the Bible. I want to experience the word. So that word became living to me. It's my favorite scripture. It's my I can't forget Psalm 118 verse 17. So I tried to look back, and then he shot me back into my body. And then I tried to go back again, but it wasn't possible.
You were like, no, I'm not having that.
I began to feel pain, noise all over the place.
Because you had just had an accident.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I just realized, oh, you're about to take life. You think you're